Ozonics Killerwinds podcast back again. Episode 46 coming at you.
Live.
We're supposed to do the clap before we start, but you know what? I just did it there. If people don't know, the clap is for when Nick edits it. It's easier for him to line everything up. Because we got audio channels, we got video channels, we got multiple angles.
You know, maybe we'll do a BTS, behind the scenes of, how I edit these things.
You know what? There's a podcast idea right there. We could just talk about our gear sometime.
Yeah.
Because I actually have gotten I've had a couple people ask me some questions about, hey, what do you guys have for gear?
Yeah.
And I know when I was doing the research for this stuff, man, you can go down a rabbit hole. There's a lot of stuff out there, but some of the videos are really good, and then there's a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of got to sift through a lot of it. But
yeah, there's a lot to it. More than one would think.
Yep, absolutely.
But once you get it down, like the producing process, it is so fast, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really nice.
I feel like we've got a pretty good little system going now.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
So, episode 46, here we go. I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
We've got a couple things that we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a rundown. I'll just give a little rundown. We're going to talk a little bit about bucks still holding antlers.
Yep, because if you listen to last podcast, we just put our trail cams out for the spring.
Yep. We're a week into that.
It's been pretty sweet.
That's been pretty fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
We could post a couple of the epic pictures we've already gotten already. We've got some awesome hero shots of a couple Tommies standing right for the camera. Beautiful sunset in the background just glistening off.
Yep.
We've got a couple. This is supposed to be an overview. Let's stick with the overview.
Yeah, you're right.
So
stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, we're going to talk about bucks holding. We're talking probably a little trail cam talk.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to talk about Wisconsin.
Yep.
We're going to the Wisconsin show. Then we're going to do a little, I don't know what you want to call this exactly. We're going to do a mid-year gear update.
Yeah, not even really mid-year. It's like early off-season after thinking about everything that you need, what you're thinking about buying for next year, and what you maybe have already bought.
Exactly. And or what I bought that then you liked that you bought, or you liked that I bought.
Yeah.
Because you had it already, or stuff that we saw at the shows that got the wheels turning, and then we made a bunch of calls, and then we did a bunch of research, and we obsessed about it, and then here we are.
It's not good. It's kind of a never-ending thing.
Yeah. So this, for some people, might be a bad thing because we're going to kind of infect them with the thought. See, I do that with my buddy Ben all the time. Him and I talk all the time about Alaska and stuff like that. And so he's always like, all right, what are you looking at now? Oh, I've got a bunch of stuff that I dumped on him. And I've actually got a couple new things that I'm really eyeing in now that I haven't told him about. I'm pretty excited about. But anyway, so we're going to talk about bucks holding. We're going to talk about trail camming. We're going to talk about shows. And we're going to talk about gear.
Yeah. Let's get into it, huh?
So let's get right into it.
Man.
First, right off the bat.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. You're probably not listening to this on a Thursday, but if you are, wow, what a coincidence.
It's March 14th right now, and actually this is my official 1 year living in Iowa. I moved into my apartment 1 year ago today.
Yep.
So thank you, Ozonics. It's been a great year.
Yeah, you should actually post your little video showing your apartment. Hey, I don't know if you want to do that, though. You might have some stalkers.
Yeah, I know. I better not.
Obsessive listeners. You don't want to get where all of a sudden you got people knocking on your door.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little place. We call it the Doge.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but it's fun to just, like, when you have your own place, like, it's just kind of cool because, like, you can put stuff up that actually you like. And so, like, I kind of made it into my own little man cave, and I'm always kind of adding little things. My recent addition was I took all my tags that I bought and didn't fill and hung them up on my wall. I call it the wall of shame.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly wish I would have kept mine over the years because kind of a lot of unfilled.
You would need a full shed for how many tags you buy per year.
I have a problem.
You do fill a lot though, so.
But I'll tell you what, I've said this before. I really just, and when I used to work in Colorado, we would always tell guys that would come, we're like, man, if you can buy the tag, just buy it.
Yep.
Because you just never know what you might see.
Right.
I think I've told a story before that guy that we had him on a water hole, and he was the guy that he was like, what else can I get? And I was like, man, you got an elk tag, you could get a black bear tag, you could, worked it right, you could get a mule deer tag, like you could get what you need. So he has this elk tag. This great 6x6 walks in, smokes it. So he's just sitting there, and we just said, hey, just sit there and we'll check in every so often. So it was like right away in the morning. Well, then he's sitting there, and then these two just mondo, full velvet mule deer bucks come in, 20 yards directly perfect, like quartering away, like come down, drink on the water. He has pictures and didn't have the mule deer tag.
Brutal.
And then after that, not too long after, a black bear walked in, but he had a black bear tag, and I think he missed. But yeah, just moral of the story, buy all the tags you can get. So I'm the type of guy that if I can get a tag for a county, especially as a resident, those tags, I'm all about it. I like having them in my pocket.
Yeah.
Or in my bag.
Right.
All right, so let's get into it. So we have heard a lot this spring, something I guess I would say a little bit different or has just become more relevant this year. One thing we noticed as we traveled, especially I drove across the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, in February, there wasn't a lick of snow. Not even a lick. None of the ditches, there was nothing. It was crazy. This winter has been incredibly mild.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. There was a year that we got like 30 inches around here in April, so we can still get snow.
Yeah,
we're still probably going to get pounded at some point. I never feel like we're out until like June.
Yeah.
But the thing that I feel like we heard a lot of Pennsylvania, we heard a ton in Iowa, is a lot of guys talking about having bucks holding. You know, guys out trying to do a bunch of shed hunting, going to south-facing slopes, going to where they would usually find sheds in late winter, early spring, and just not finding a lick of nothing. Yeah. You know, you've gotten out more than I have, but just in a little bit of tromping around that I've done too, haven't found anything. Yeah. What we heard a lot of guys talking about in Iowa, especially, is where bucks and or just deer in general would usually winter. They're just not seeing them there.
Yeah.
It just seems like, you know, a deer's whole year is really dictated just by the variables and the environment and the pressure that they feel. And they haven't had this harsh winter to make them move to where they usually would be in the winter. They've just been able to just kind of stay. Yeah. And so I think it's just spreading everything out a lot more. But we're also we hear guys talking about like, well, man, I've got bucks on camera with both sides. There's a guy, a vendor that we always see. He's an African outfitter that lives in Iowa and he sells hunts for an African outfitter. He's like, oh yeah, he's from Iowa. He's like, oh yeah, I got bucks on both sides. Like, just the other day. Ironically, we have pictures of a buck that's kind of an up-and-comer for us. You know, it would have been a tough sell not to, give him an arrow if we would have gotten close enough this year. He'll be a really nice one this next year.
Oh, he'll be a giant, I think.
And holding both sides with another smaller buck, holding both sides just the other day, second week in March. So, moral of the story is don't be discouraged if you're not finding anything. There's still deer that are holding. But then as well, I have pictures on a permission piece, and we'll put this video and photo up too. You can see it's a buck, and he's just nubs. Yeah. And then another buck, you mentioned that from last night or yesterday during the day. He's just nubs. Yeah. So some are dropping, but some are still holding. Yeah,
it's super interesting.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with not having such a harsh winter.
Yes.
They're still just doing their own thing, and I don't think that their bodies have kind of went into that shutdown mode to where they normally shed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just been so mild. It's just really weird.
Well, if it's not stressing them, there's no reason to drop them, right?
Exactly. But we're getting to the point now where once those new antlers start coming in, they'll start pushing them off.
And we had a little buck on that permission spot where you got the picture of the deer walking across the field. You could see him just starting to nub up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. So
you can tell, you can see with a lot of the bucks that we see on camera right now, you can tell that they're just little choppers. Like it looks like two little point. Like it's weird.
Yep.
It's not like a bulb, kind of like you see with bigger.
Yeah,
bucks.
it was kind of nice to see bucks of both sides like that. Heard a lot about guys talking about that, and then we really saw it. It's like, oh well, heck, there you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
So, but kind of on that same lines, talking about the shows. When this episode is airing, we will be on our way and or set up to do the Wisconsin Open Season Sportsman's Expo, formerly known as the Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo. Actually pretty excited. We're doing seminars at Wisconsin.
Yep.
That's something that's going to be really cool. So I have the opportunity to do seminars Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll have times each one of those days. If you're at the show, stop by the booth. Make sure you get to a seminar. The nice thing about the seminars is they have pretty cool topics. Like I said, we're talking all about hunting with ozone. They have other seminars lined up throughout the day as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always tell guys about the seminars, and I feel like is nice about them too, is there's not a lot of places to sit down in those venues. Yeah. You end up walking around all day long, and you get pretty tired. So if you're looking to relax for a bit, come to the seminar. It's going to be cool. We're talking all about the history of ozone. We're going to be talking about how it works, just helping explain what it does and why it does what it does. Yeah. And then really most importantly, getting into how that can help you when you're out in the field,
right?
What type of advantage it can give you as a hunter.
Yeah.
And I think once you really start to understand what it does and how it does it, and you kind of pull that curtain away. Because I think that's one of the things that we hear so much is guys go, man, I just don't really understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even understand how it works. Like put it above your head and like, what does it do? And da-da-da-da. And so we go into pretty good detail about explaining what ozone is, how it works, what it does to your odor, and then to go, okay, now that we understand the facts, now let's apply this to how you hunt.
Right.
And then I think what I've noticed in the past, because we've done these seminars years ago at the shows, we have a lot of these men and women, they'll walk up, they're like, man, dude, that really helps me.
Yeah.
Like this could really make a difference for me. I'm like, yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's made a difference for me, and that's why we really like the opportunity to get a chance to sit down and do these seminars, because sometimes when you're at the show and there's a lot of people and you're trying to give a guy's best explanation as you can. But that's really an opportunity to kind of one-on-one. And that's the other thing too. If you have questions and you're at the show, you want to talk about ozone or ozonics or how it works, just raise your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, sometimes we've gotten kind of off subject and guys will say, hey man, I got a question specifically about this. And we'll go into that. So, but yeah, that's the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. So next Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Or when this is airing, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
It's in Wisconsin Dells at the Kalahari Convention Center. And there's also an indoor water park.
Yeah, So maybe you guys want to, take advantage of the opportunity, go down some slides.
Listen.
Stop over at the show.
Listen, we've pretty much decided that we're going to leave really early Thursday morning. It's probably about a 4-hour drive from here.
Yeah, about 4 hours.
We're going to leave really early. One of the things about the Wisconsin show that's a little bit of a bummer is you can't drive in. Yeah. Iowa, you can drive right in. We have a van that we drive, the White Buff. Drive right in to where our booth is. Well, Kalahari won't let you do that. It's all carpeted. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So one of the kind of crappy things is you got to cart everything in. So we have to it just makes it a bit more of a process to get it all in there. Multiple trips. We've got these big boxes, blah, 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 blah. But we're leaving early. We're planning on the time it's going to take to check in or get set up. Got to get into the VRBO, and then we are Operation Water Parking it.
I'm packing trunks.
Dude, you haven't seen my trunks.
I don't even know if I have a pair of trunks.
Listen, this is a shameless plug. I have no affiliation, however you want to say it. There is a brand of swimming trunks that I got 2 years ago. They're called Chubbies.
Oh my gosh.
They are the best.
I can't believe you have Chubbies.
Yeah,
Do you know how expensive a pair of Chubbies trunks are?
Yep, I got them. And you know what? My Chubbies are pink with green alligators, and they look awesome. Moral of the story is we're going to be in Wisconsin. If you're there, you go into the big main hall, basically right in the middle, you'll find us.
Yep.
And like you said, Wisconsin's a great show. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you said, it feels like Pennsylvania, Iowa, Wisconsin. That's really our bread and butter. We didn't do near as many shows this year, but I feel like we really like the hardcore whitetail shows. And there's some really, really good ones out there too. Minnesota puts on a good show. Illinois puts on a good show, which is also affiliated with the Iowa.
Ohio is too, isn't it?
Ohio puts on a good show. There's a bunch of good shows out there. We just kind of necked down this year. But yeah, we're really excited. It'll be good. It'll be a good time to be there. And we'll have some great show specials. And like I said, most of all, it's just a great opportunity to talk to people and get a chance to touch base. But let's move on.
Yep.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay. Now, gear. Again, talking about gear that we're kind of in the off season, even though turkey season's only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
Yes. Turkey season's right around the corner now, baby.
You were going to try to find the gobble.
I was going to try. Let me see.
Next one.
Let me see if I can get a gobble.
Oh, man. Real audio, by the way. Real audio.
Real one.
That ain't no downloaded one.
You know what? I'm so excited about turkey. Hey, stop interrupting me. Hey, they gobble when they want to gobble, man. You can't stop. You can't stop it. I'll tell you what. This is way off subject.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
I was at my house the other day, and I don't know why. So, sometimes you get a song stuck in your head. I bet I said, "You can't stop the flop." I bet I said that 1,000 times in my head. That's from the guys with Bone Collector, like Michael Waddell. That's his whole thing. You can't stop the flop. I could not stop thinking about it. It was driving me crazy.
You just can't stop the flop.
You can't. And then I started saying, "You can't stop the flopping." And I kept saying all these, like, "You can't stop the flop." I was just like, and I was like singing it, and it's like, "You can't stop the flop." I just kept saying it over and over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going crazy? What is going on right now?
Going crazy for sure.
I can't stop thinking about turkeys. It's just on my mind.
It's going to be awesome.
Okay. So we're talking about gear that we're kind of coming out of the winter, getting into the spring. It's time of year when you're kind of starting to think about updating some stuff, getting stuff squared away. I am way down the rabbit hole of gear lists for for Alaska. I'm thinking about that and some things that I've been looking at are coming to the surface. And one thing that you used last year, right off the top, that you had great luck with, and this is a perfect example where you had it, and that got me really dug a little tick down in my head, and that started scratching around, was marsupial gear.
Yeah.
So you have their standard bino harness.
Yep.
Which basically means they have a magnetic bino harness. We actually have it. You should grab it, but it's okay. You really
do you want me to grab it?
You jumped into action there.
No, well, I'll just grab it.
It's just grab it. Hey, you better grab it, put it on. Well, it's like, okay, I'll give you a description. He's taken off his headphones and it's wrapped around the chair and see if he trips. Oh, nope, he didn't. He's walking around and he did trip. He's grabbing the bino harness. Don't put it on until you get on camera there, dingus. But yeah, so Nick bought this marsupial bino harness last year. And I, very, very fortunate, a good friend of mine, of all things, gave me a pair of Swarovski 10x32 binoculars.
They're awesome.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't know if he wants me named, so we'll leave it anonymous.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. Love you very much. Somebody gave me a pair of Swarovski binoculars, 10x32s. They needed a service, so I ended up sending them into Swarovski, which, by the way, if you've never done anything like that, Swarovski and a lot of these optics brands have great customer service. I actually registered them, and then they have, you can do repairs, and they also will, they'll do refurbishment, check all the connections, the joints, but then they're going to change out the ocular lenses, and it cost me $100 to change out the ocular lenses because they were pretty scratched up, and they'll be pretty near good as new. Well, with that said, I've always used a Kuiu bino harness I've had for a really long time. I'm pretty sure it's called the Pro harness.
Yeah.
It opens from the top. It's non-magnetic. It's kind of elastic. Well, when I put those 10x32s in there, they're pretty small, and they really just kind of were really shaking around in there. So I started really diving down the rabbit hole of, man, maybe I should look at getting a different harness. Well, right off the bat, you just gushed about your marsupial.
Yeah.
So you have what they call their standard bino harness. Why don't you put that bad boy on?
I got to put it on?
Oh, well, might as well. That's kind of you better take your headphones off. So I'll explain it as we go here. So the cool thing about their standard harness is it's got magnetics on the top, that magnetic to the bottom, which is pretty sweet. The standard harness is open on the sides. I ended up getting the enclosed bino harness. That's what I ended up getting instead of the standard.
It's really hard to do sitting down.
That's all right. You're doing great. Thanks. You're doing great. Good job. There you go. Come on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Nick has the standard harness. I ended up getting the enclosed harness. The enclosed harness difference is the sides are enclosed, which is a bit better, right? Whether it's dust or whether it's rain or just moisture, debris, sticks, leaves, stuff that could get in there. Go ahead. The standard harness is Cordura material, which is pretty sweet. They have two side pockets, little stretchable pockets on the side. I feel like you're
Well, I couldn't decide if I should do this camera or that camera.
No, I'm trying to figure out what you're doing. you're like holding it up real awkwardly, like the camera isn't like centered on you. And then you actually, one of the really cool things that as I've looked into marsupial and actually, whoa, that was his rangefinder against the microphone. But the cool thing is they have a ton of accessories, ways that you can kind of personalize based on, like I think, function really, they've got rangefinder pouches. You can get zipped pouches. You have a pouch if you kind of show the bottom of it.
I don't have it.
I know, but it has a strapping system on the bottom, so you can put a little.
It's called a down under pouch.
Down under pouch, right? They make a deal that you could put a handgun. Yep. You could put bear spray.
Yep.
They make one. They've got a hand warmer deal that you can connect to the bottom of your bino harness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really cool, like how modular their system is, and you can really cater it to whatever type of thing that you may be doing or what you need. As I was looking at everything and going through the process of which ones I was going to get, what really, which was like kind of the nail in the coffin. I was like, okay, this one I'm going to get. A lot of bino harnesses, they usually don't have like two sizes, like a large and an extra large, or like a medium and a large. Marsupial has a small, medium, large. Yep. They actually have a really awesome, which we could put it up here, a pretty killer size chart of all the different binos. And the binos that I am going to be getting aren't on there because they're kind of old, right? Yeah. They're from a while ago. They were super cool. I called. Their customer service was awesome. Yeah. Guy I talked to was like, heck yeah, man, congrats. He was all excited about the binos. And he's like, yeah, this is one that you should get. And they make a small harness, which would fit better for a smaller pair of binoculars. And the enclosed bino harness that I'm getting, this is more of like a Cordura material, so it's a little bit tougher, you know what I mean, and thicker. It sounds like the enclosed one is a little bit different material, so it's a little bit thinner or softer, I guess you could say. Yep. But they also have straps that you can connect.
Mm-hmm. I took mine off.
Yep.
The straps.
Yes.
I just decided I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, in those binoculars, those are 12 by 50s, right?
12 by 50s.
And that's a medium harness.
Medium harness.
And they fit in there just fine.
Perfect.
Yep. I'll tell you, one of the other things that's kind of interesting about marsupial, just from my experience using other harnesses, like I've used Kuyu's, and I love that harness. I've had it forever. I use a pair of Steiner Merlin 10 by 42s in there. It has a rangefinder pocket. But one of the things I really like about this harness is how you can adjust the straps. Yeah. There's actually this little deal on the buckle that it's almost like a little, like a switch or just like a kind of like a button that you press, and then that will release the strap, and you can adjust it instead of having to like completely take it out and adjust it. Yep. And then on the standard harness, they have kind of their standard straps. You ended up doing the updated straps, which are the same straps that they have on their enclosed harness.
It's like a mesh strap or something they call it. I can't remember what they call it, but yeah.
So as you could tell, I have gone down the rabbit hole, and I am all in on this marsupial stuff. And like I said, I don't think this is anything new. They've been around for a while. It's kind of cool. They're made in Arizona, made in the USA. I think from what it sounds like and just the stuff that I've read and looked at on the internet, they hand stitch them. You know what I mean? They make them, you know what I mean? Which is pretty killer. Like I said, their customer service was awesome to work with. I've actually seen them in Shields now. Yep. Don't they even have like a Matthews signature marsupial?
Yeah, Matthews and marsupial do a lot together. Like there's a marsupial bowl case now that's all Matthews stitched. Yep. Okay. And then they have it's literally this exact one, but with a Matthews logo on it. So they do a lot of work with.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it might be the one that you're getting. Maybe actually. Might be the enclosed one.
So I was going round and round on the color. Yeah. That was what I did next. Oh, what color do I get? What color do I get? I was between they have what they call their Ranger Green, which I think is kind of like their iconic original color. And then this is the color you have is the Wolf Gray Coyote Brown.
Yes.
And I ended up doing that color, partly just because that's the color you have, and it kind of is cool when I'm in places like, oh, that's the same one that Nick has. Yeah. So I kind of like that. But what really gravitated me towards them, like you said, was the fact that it had a small size. I liked all the idea of all the different things that you could connect. Yeah. I like the magnets. Mm-hmm. One thing that was pretty interesting too is they also have these bino harnesses in non-magnetic versions. Yes. Because if you have a pacemaker, you're wearing a bino harness close to your chest, you got to be kind of careful. Mm-hmm. Magnets also, if you're using a GPS or like an old school, like real GPS, or a compass, it can, obviously when you're trying to find magnetic north and you're got a magnet close to you, you can throw the compass off. if you would just hold the GPS at normal arm's length or hold it out, it won't affect it. But if you're in a rainy situation, you're having to try to keep it out of the rain, it could affect it.
Yep.
I decided to go with the magnetic version, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. And like I said, it's cool that it's a small company.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I called and talked to them, they were super awesome, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, and so as I was looking and we were talking, then you found, or we started talking about.
You found it.
Yeah, I guess I did. They have a pretty killer cell phone pouch.
Yeah.
That is a lot like their rangefinder pouch. It's magnetic on the top, flips open. They make a cell phone pouch now, so you're going to put that on this side.
Yes.
On your left side.
Yep.
And like I said, will fit. They show in the video like an iPhone 15 or an iPhone 14.
Yeah, fits pretty much any phone.
Yeah, basically.
The biggest phone that you could buy really will fit.
Yeah, they had some Samsungs in there that were humongous.
Yeah.
Fitted just fine.
But no, I'm really jazzed up about that cell phone pouch. I think it's going to be pretty nice because...
Well, I'm just going to say, there's 3 things that you struggle with losing.
No.
Yeah.
When have I lost my phone?
Nick, it's not that you lose it, you forget it, and then you forget where you put it, which means you lost it.
There was one time.
Yeah. But you know what? Listen, when you forget where you put it, when you forget where you put it, quote unquote.
Gosh, can we just not talk about this?
Here's what happens. You melt down. So there's 3 things: your cell phone, your keys, and your water bottle. You just had a meltdown over your water bottle getting back from the Iowa Deer Classic. Now that was a little bit of a sprinkle of, we were both tired, been working hard, and then driving back from the show, and it was late. But you were like ripping everything apart. And I just sat there and I'm like, what's up? And you're like, I can't find my water bottle. God, stupid water bottle. And then you always go, if I lost that water bottle, I'm going to be so mad. And I'm like, oh, you're already mad, but okay. And then I'm like, and you're like ripping open your bags and you're slamming the door in the back of the van and you're trying to find it. And I got out of the van. I walked around the van, walked to the passenger seat, opened the door, looked, and it was sitting right underneath the seat. So if Marsupial makes a key holder, you should probably get that too. But I think the Marsupial thing is going to help you so you don't lose it. Oh, come on. Quit being such a, I don't know, what you're being. You're sulking. Quit acting like the victim.
Just not going to say anything right now.
Oh,
but yeah, so I got
hard to argue with the truth, man.
So I ordered the cell phone holder, which I'm really excited for like when we're out hunting or whatever. There's a lot of times I'll have cameras connected to my phone, and then, I mean, there's a lot of times where it just kind of seems like it's kind of a scramble when you got it in pockets and stuff, and it's just gonna be really nice to just be able to boom right there it is, get the GoPro going.
So the other thing that you're looking at that kind of spurred on all this conversation.
Well, I've been actually looking at this for a while.
Okay, but you better get on the notify list.
I am,
because
actually the 2 things I want from them on their notify list
sold out right now.
Yeah,
the multi-pack is what it's called.
Yep, it's a chest pack that's not for carrying a bino or a binocular. So, which I think would be, I like wearing a chest pack, but like when I'm filming and stuff, it's like I don't really need to carry my binos. Really, it's just I don't use it enough to like justify bringing it and packing it.
It's like if you're running camera and you're going like those your binos instead.
Yeah, exactly. Like I got a camera right there that normally has a pretty decent size lens on it. It's like I don't need it.
Probably need to be filming it.
Yeah. So so I've been looking at that because I thought that it'd be really nice to be able to put batteries in there. I mean, we use remotes to start stuff up. I just think it would be really handy to just have snacks. I use Transcends to help with low blood sugars. I could load them with that. Yeah. So that's kind of the next thing that I'm definitely looking into.
Yeah.
I was even thinking I could use it for putting turkey calls in there. I'm a big caller now. So, but
I'm actually surprised that they don't have a
I know, me too.
Because one thing I didn't know, they've got a ton of different type of stuff.
Yeah.
They've got actually pheasant hunting vests.
Yeah.
Like full on pheasant hunting vests.
Really good. Really cool looking.
Yeah. I was actually telling my brother-in-law about that.
Yeah.
He's a avid pheasant hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you're looking at too is they have a like an arrow holder for like
hip quiver.
Yeah, like hip quiver for like, you see a lot of like Matthews and different, like when the guys do target shooting or 3D shooting in the summer, they carry all their arrows right there and it's easy to grab, and they make a pretty cool like hip quiver. They actually make spotting scope covers as well.
Yeah.
They make soft-sided bow cases, rifle cases.
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, with that quiver, again, it's just like everything else they have. It's super modular, so you can put pretty much any of the accessories on there. So, it's going to be really nice because doing the 3D shooting and stuff like that, just to have the arrows in a spot. And then you can get a water bottle pouch, so you can carry your water with you. In the video, I was watching a kind of like a how-to video with it, and the guy from Marsupio said that they're looking at coming out with a release holder. Yeah. So like it's pretty sweet. Yeah. And I would really like to get that.
One of the things that I thought was pretty cool too, like as I watched a lot of the videos and was just scouring their website, watching YouTube and stuff, is on a lot of videos what you heard them say was, we had a lot of people asking for this. We heard a lot of people ask for this. Mm-hmm. So we came out with this, right? So I felt like they were really all about trying to kind of meet the user or the hunter or the customer with what their needs were.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's where they've really just all of a sudden they've got this whole plethora of stuff, and you never know when a person can be like, that's totally right for me. Just like the cell phone holder or, that multi-pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the hip quiver, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, and again, I think if I was ever in Arizona and I was near their shop, man, I would knock on the door. Can I please get a 50-cent tour? I think that would be really neat to see.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
Okay.
So the next big thing that I ended up getting this year, kind of a little bit of a change for me, and then you ended up getting some gear too, was Stone Glacier. Mm-hmm. So, I always talk about that for me when it comes to camo or just clothing in general, I feel like it's all about what I need,
right,
rather than what I want.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of, man, I don't know. I would say it saved me from buying some stuff along the way, but man, I got a lot of camo.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of clothes.
Yeah, you do. You do.
But I feel like it's all based around, what do I need?
Yeah, exactly.
And, the funny thing is I feel like once I get something, if I get something that's similar to that, it's got to be better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of joke with you, this last year wearing Code of Silence was really one of the kind of the first years that I was more kind of camo specific.
Yeah,
and
me
I'd
too.
worn kind of more camo. I shouldn't say that. Last year was Code of Silence. I'd worn some Sitka before that. But a lot of times I've in the years before this, it's just been camo collage.
Yeah.
And even with the Code of Silence, it was just kind of like, well, I have that as an outer layer, but I have this specific base layer or this sweatshirt, something that I've really used. And once I find something that works, I don't know why I need to switch.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I like to look at a lot of that clothing and see stuff, but a lot of times I'm just like, well, I don't really, and you hear me say it, I'm like, I don't really need that.
Yeah.
I've got a pair of bibs, I got a jacket, I've got this or that. One thing that for Alaska that I've been really thinking about, and obviously I'm counting ounces on everything. I mean, how much time have I been talking to you about counting ounces?
Quite a bit.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really like just scrutinizing every piece of gear and how could I maybe find something that I could use in a different way.
Yeah. That's been our lunchtime conversation for weeks now.
Weeks? Man, I feel like it's probably been way longer than that.
You know what I mean?
It's been like a month or two. Yeah. But anyway, so I talk about that all the time. So one of the things I stumbled upon was Stone Glacier makes a bunch of great gear, and they make a circ vest, they call it. Mm-hmm. They make a hooded circ vest. So it's a vest just with a hood.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I was always thinking to Alaska was like a hooded sweatshirt. And I'm looking at the weight of it, and then I started looking at all this other stuff, and all of a sudden I came across this circ hooded vest, or they're just called their circ vest. And I'm like, well, heck, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I already have the base layers that I need. If I could just cut the arms off, I'm saving weight, but I still have a hood.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting one. I got it in the brown color, and then you started trying it on. You know, I talk a lot about need over want, but I think for you, what you talk a lot about is fit first.
Yeah.
And then I think you start to look at function.
Yeah.
And the kind of the need and want. You kind of want all of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we all
course,
do.
We all do. Yeah.
But like, I feel like what really is the sealer for you is fit.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to feel good.
Yeah.
You got to feel like you look good. You got to feel like it feels good. You're all about fit.
Yeah.
And so you tried on that circuit vest, and I could just see your wheels turning right off the bat.
I liked it a lot.
Right off the bat.
It was sweet. Well, and I was really in the market for a new vest too.
You had been. You have been
for a long time.
A while. I've been listening to it. So one thing led to another. All the stars aligned. We just so happened to be down in Des Moines for the Iowa Deer Classic. Got the show all set up, and we had checked into the VRBO, and we were going to try to look for supper. You know what? Why don't we just walk through Shields quick? Let's just do a little lap here.
Yeah.
Better go, you know, look at the ammunition, you know, go look at the bows, swing through the archery.
Yeah.
You know, camping stuff, knives, Leathermans, guns, clothing, hunting clothes. One thing led to another, and there on that shelf was the Cirque Light vest.
Yeah.
Which is a lot like the Cirque vest, no hood, and a little bit lighter, kind of different material on the sides, pockets on the front, pockets on the inside. And one thing led to another, and Nick's walking out with it, baby.
I got a check on it.
Just swiped it.
Yeah, it was
Done.
awesome. I love it too. I wear it a lot.
You have been wearing it a lot.
I already got grease stains on it, so.
Well, you got a good one on there today, actually, right there.
No, that was there before today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. I noticed it this morning when I put it on. So
there you go.
It's awesome because I'm already destroying it. But hey, what do you do? What do you do with it? At least it's not just hanging up somewhere. I'm wearing it like literally every day.
You have been wearing that vest a lot.
Yeah, and I really like it a lot. It's,
as you would say, this has been your daily wear.
Yeah, this is daily. This one's in the starting 5, if not the MVP right now.
Yep, it has been.
Yeah.
And I think that vest will do really good in the springtime too. In a turkey blind, it's dark enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, really nice.
Yep.
So yeah, you've been really digging that.
Yeah, and I do really want to get the hooded one too.
Oh man,
we'll see though. I probably won't, but I probably will.
But yeah, no. Like I said, I called and talked to the guys at Stone Glacier too, and they, again, great customer service. They were super cool to talk to.
Yeah.
They've got some great information on their website. They have some good videos that really go in detail. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot like Marsupial, Stone Glacier just feels very well thought out.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like, you know, form, function, it's all right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think it's kind of cool that they're really all about just solid colors. I feel like that's one thing that even I feel like I've really gravitated towards more and more is just solid colors.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like camo, but
yeah, exactly.
Like solid colors are fine too.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next thing. You actually saw this in Shields that day. You've been in the market for a bow case.
Yeah.
You've been looking and looking and looking.
Yeah, I want to get a new bow case.
Hard case.
Yeah, hard case.
And I think one of the things that you said that resonated with me on that whole thing, and I think it's so true, and we talk about this all the time with those Onyx. A lot of people buy HR 230, HR 300, HR 500, and I kind of feel like it surprises me every year how many carry bags that we go through.
Yeah.
And a few years back, we were at Pennsylvania, and I just so happened kind of in conversation, a couple guys were going to buy, and they all wanted carry bags. I said, why are you so adamant about the carry bag? And he's flat out, he's like, man, listen, spending hundreds of dollars on this thing. Like, I want to keep it nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really what I say and talk about a lot is that Onyx doesn't get beat up in your tree as much.
No.
It gets beat up in the backseat of your truck.
Big time.
Your bow, when you're holding it and you're putting it on a hook on the easy hanger in the tree stand, it's a good to go.
Yeah.
But it's when it gets in the back of your truck, you don't have a really good place to put it. So you're setting it down, and its sights resting on something, and there's your pair of boots, your backpack, and you go around a corner and it ends up on the floor.
Yeah.
And you hear it bang and pop, and you're like, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my bow. Great.
Yeah.
Like I just spent all summer getting this thing sighted in, and now is it off? Like I got to go shoot it. Am I right? And it's like, then it's insecurity, and my confidence is gone. And so I feel like that's really what you made a comment about. You're like, yeah, man, I just feel terrible. I got this great, awesome bow.
Yeah.
I'm just like sitting in my back seat.
Yeah.
You know, you've been looking at hard cases.
Yeah.
And if you ever had the opportunity to travel, going on a hunt, or,
you
know, I know Jason Mears has talked about that he is super involved in the Total Aperture Challenge. You've thought about maybe going doing one of those.
Yeah.
It'd just be nice to be able to have it in a case.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, kind of feels like more of a need than a want for sure.
And those SKB cases that they make right now.
Yeah, they're sweet.
Yeah, they're super sweet. One of the things that I recommended for you that I never thought about, I have an SKB double case.
Yeah.
And it's black.
Yeah.
And that's probably my biggest, not regret, but something you don't know what you know till you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now after the fact, if I could do it over again, and I've kind of been in the market for a rifle hard case.
Yeah. Yep.
And if it were me, I would get anything but black.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything
Everybody
but
else
black.
has black.
Yep. I'll never forget. I went moose hunting years ago, and we used a flight service. We came back in after our hunt, and they had these huge, big containers, just like, you know, containers that are on ship containers that they come over from China or wherever on ships. There's these huge containers sitting there, big open, doors open. This whole wall, like the length of this container, was nothing but bow cases.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all black.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, good luck. And I was like, what? He's like, it's in there somewhere. And I had no idea. Literally, we had to take every one and try to figure out which one was mine.
Yeah.
You know, I even said, like, the camera case you have, I'm like, man, dude, try to do something that makes it look different.
Yeah.
You're covering it with stickers.
Yeah.
What I've done now is on my case, I just go to like wherever, and I get black. I get pink duct tape, bright pink duct tape. Write my name on it, put a little piece of pink on all the sides.
Exactly.
Because then when you're looking for it, it sticks out.
See it.
When I was in Alaska last year, there was this whole pile of gun cases, all this stuff, and I could just pull mine right out because there's a pink.
Yeah.
But I would suggest getting a different color one, and they had a pretty cool SKB Matthews like signature.
Sweet. Yeah.
Had a cool Matthews logo on it. It was like a dark green, kind of like your sweatshirt. And it was all, the foam was all cut out specifically. Your bow fit right in. It had a place for your quiver, all sorts of cool stuff. You can get little cases that fit in there.
Yeah, for broadheads and stuff.
Yeah.
And I liked it too. I'm still debating between getting the double case and the single one. Because if I'm being completely honest, like I don't know how much I'm gonna be traveling with my bow and like actually like, because like the reason you bring a double is not necessarily to bring two bows, but you can put some clothes in there and stuff like that.
I use it as a bag.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how often I'm going to be traveling with it, and if I'm going to be mainly using it in my truck, I kind of want one that's a little bit smaller, I feel like, but I'm still kind of weighing all that out before I actually buy one. So
yeah, no, and I feel like with gear in general, you know, when you really, really dive into it, it really comes down to what's your use case.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what and where does it fit the most within what you need.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I feel like people kind of, and I think, you know, I have the tendency with this too, is you kind of feel like you get pulled or pressured into like what everybody has.
Yeah.
But you really just need to focus on what works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like a good example of that is like Cole, when he's going hunting, he like around here, he doesn't have a case. He has, it's like it's kind of like a case that attaches to the back of your seat.
Yep.
And you can strap his bow in. It can all be nice and safe in there.
It's like super secure on it.
Really secure on the back. And he's like, why don't you just do that? Well, I have an extended cab.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a swing door or whatever.
Yeah, I have like a 4-door and it's like a full back seat.
Yeah.
You put a thing on the back of your seat and you try to put somebody back there and you're just digging your legs against it.
Yeah, it's going to be, it just won't work really.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, that's a good example of what you were just saying. Like, yeah, I could do that, but it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely in the market for one. I'm still definitely really looking, and I think I'll probably get one here decently soon. So,
yep. No, and like I said, those cases are cool, especially like I said, they're all cut out and it's the hard foam, so fits right in there and it's not going to move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. The other thing that's not here yet, but I am hopefully only a few weeks away.
Yeah.
Is a custom rifle that I ordered.
Yeah.
I ordered a 6.5 PRC from a company called Wolf Precision.
Yeah.
Out of Pennsylvania. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
Yep. It's going to be really sweet.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have it here soon and I'll do a podcast about it.
Right.
But that is something that I am counting down the days.
Oh, yeah.
I ordered it the first part of December. They told me 16 weeks. So beginning of April, hopefully.
Coming up on it.
Should be seeing it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
I'm excited to see it too.
It is going to be jet black.
Yeah.
It's going to be all black. It's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Putting a Leupold 3-18 by 44 Mark V on the top of it.
Yeah.
It's a XLR foldable chassis, magnesium foldable chassis.
Yep.
Put a 19-inch carbon barrel on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
Yep.
It's going to be really cool.
It's going to be.
I'm not really into guns and stuff like that, but like after seeing pictures of it and we've at the shows and stuff that we've seen some that are going to be like really similar to it. Yeah. And it's really cool. I'm excited.
There was a company at Iowa that had the XLR foldable chassis, the magnesium chassis there, and I got to hold that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was asking like really specific questions about things. He's like, how do you know so much about that thing? And I said, well, and he's like, let me guess, you ordered a rifle. And I'm like, yeah. And it was pretty interesting to hear him talk too, because custom rifle builder, right? And these chassis, as everybody's calling them now, which is just, it's like a stock.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a comment. I said, are you seeing that becoming more popular? He's like, oh my gosh, dude. He goes, 2 years ago, everything we just did was just normal composite stocks.
Yeah.
And he goes, and last year it was like half and half. He's like, this year, he goes, it's, 80% is foldable or like magnesium carbon chassis. Is like, that is where it's going. Everybody wants chassis.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's a bolt action rifle that looks like it's on an AR platform.
Yeah.
An AR. So it's pretty neat. I'm really excited about it. And cool thing, it's going to fold up. It'll be super short.
Yeah.
I could suppress it if I want. I have a suppressor. I don't think I'll suppress it when I'm up in Alaska just because I don't need to carry the extra weight.
Yeah.
And the reason I'll have a rifle there is to scare something away, and I kind of want it to make a lot of noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hopefully I don't have to do that.
Right.
But you had to be able to put it on a backpack or put it in a plane and not take up a ton of room or stick way above your pack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. It's going to work really good for you, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. And like I said, I can also use it for antlerless deer hunting if I'd like in Iowa during like January antlerless stuff.
Yep.
If I have an opportunity to do some depredation hunting in the summer, you can use
there.
any legal method of take, which would constitute, so I could still use it there, which would be fun.
Yeah.
But like I said, I love springtime. I think it's fun when everything starts waking up. I think it's fun just kind of, who was I talking to the other day? They were talking about something random and he said, like, what do you think about? I'm like, dude, I just think about hunting all the time.
Yeah.
It's like that's no different this time of year either.
No.
Just think about hunting all the time.
Yeah. I
mean, if we're not actually hunting, we're still talking about it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, that's all I've been thinking about is like, where should I go scout this weekend? What public piece can I go pick apart?
Yeah. Well, it's like even Jason Mears.
Yeah.
He texted me the other day and we were talking, it was like during lunchtime, you had your marsupial pack on, your harness, and you came in and I snapped a picture of you and I sent it to him like, this is what we're doing right now, like talking about marsupial gear,
Yeah.
And it just never stops.
No, it literally never stops.
Which I think is really fun.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have that type of passion for anything,
And I tell you what, I can see that even in Jet. He's starting to ask me, how many days?
Yeah,
how many
yeah,
days? I felt so bad. I know I'm getting off subject here, but I have this old compound bow in my basement. It's really old. It's really small. It's like a youth compound bow. And he wants to pull that thing back so bad. Well, he called me yesterday at work. He went down there and found it. Well, my mother-in-law is watching the kids this week. We're out of daycare this week, spring break. So she calls, hey, Cole, Jet wants to talk to you. And I'm like, hey, Jet, what's up, buddy? Hey, Dad, yeah, so, you told me to call you, so you won't get mad. And I was like, okay, what's up? And he's like, so can I pull this bow back? And I'm like, no. I'm like, because it's a compound bow.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, buddy. I mean, it's old, but I'm like, no. Just wait till I get home. So this morning, I hadn't even gone into the bathroom and brushed my teeth yet. Jet comes in and he said, hey, well, are you going to shower up here or in the basement? I was like, what? I was like, and I was going to shower in the basement. I was like, I'm going to shower in the basement. He's like, oh, okay. Not, but 5 seconds later, hey, well, we're down there. Can I pull back that bow? He was on it because I said the next day. And oh man, 7 a.m. was the next day. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So before I could get in the shower, he made me dig out this bow, and I'm like, all right, buddy. And I'm like, he knows, one, one over, two under. I'm like, okay, buddy. Like with his recurve, and I'm like, all right, try to pull it back. So he gave it everything he could, and he couldn't. He couldn't even like really break it over.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, gotta wait another year,
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, I'm only 7, so wait till I'm 8. I should be able to pull it back by I'm 8.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. But it's just funny how his just wheels are turning.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
He's thinking about, when do we get to go turkey hunting?
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law just last night, won't be long, we'll be in a turkey blind.
Oh, yeah.
And it won't be.
No.
And then before you know it, it'll be the summer, and before you know it, all these bucks will be in velvet, and before you know it, we'll be hunting again.
Right back in the fall, boy.
Yeah. So
can't wait.
All right, well, let's wrap it up.
Oh, I got one thing I want to say. So just to update on the e-bike situation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I completely forgot about that.
You're good. So like we were saying a couple episodes ago, I got an e-bike. The battery range wasn't really what I was looking for, yada, yada, yada. Worked a lot with Rambo trying to figure out the situation. Kind of come to figure out that bike just wasn't for me, really.
Yep.
And so after, going back and forth with Rambo, I decided to upgrade. I upgraded to Megatron
2.0.
Yep, Megatron 2.0. And it's been incredible. It's been awesome. And the big thing about it is I can get to all 3 classification levels of e-bikes, so I'm good to go on public land. If I'm hunting at home on private, I can crank it back up.
So to extrapolate a little bit on that, because I think I never really understood what that meant either. So on public land in Iowa right now, the way the law states, the bike cannot have more than 750 watts.
Yeah.
Okay. So the cool thing is about most electric bikes, and Rambo's really good about this, you'll see it on their website, they talk about it. You can adjust the power of the bike to meet those classifications.
Yeah.
So with your bike being that Megatron 2.0, what you had before, that Roamer was just a rear wheel drive.
Yeah.
Now you have a rear motor, but you also have a front motor.
Yeah. And actually the first one I had was just a mid drive.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It
was just a middle hub.
Yeah.
So now with the front and rear, but to get it down to 750 on public land, basically it's doing 750 between the two. So it's like 3 1/4 each.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So you can still, because you don't want to be up, because that thing will go up to what? How many watts is on the top end?
It's 1,000 watts on each motor.
1,000 on each?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you put 1,000 on each, that's like an electric dirt bike.
Yeah, it really rips.
It cooks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's cool because I think the biggest thing, like you're saying, is you were trying to get a bike for the fact that type 1 diabetes, when it comes to going far, is a real trick for you.
Yeah.
It's just really, really tough.
Yeah.
It can really put you in a compromising position. But if you can get on a bike and just kind of scoot along and not have to be burning energy and worried about anything, or even if you do go low, just to be able to just go burp and just really hustle back to where you need to go to get what you need.
Yeah.
If you don't already have it on you.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like this Rambo 2.0, I feel like fits the bill 100%.
Yeah, it checks every single box.
You've got an internal battery, an internal battery that can still be taken out on the bottom of this middle shaft deal,
on the frame.
Then you also have a battery that goes on top of that right here as well that can be detached.
Yeah.
So between the two batteries, how many amp hours is it?
Like 37, I believe.
Jeez. And you had before was like 20?
14.
Oh, 14. Jeez. Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yeah. So it's, I've been been using the crap out of it the last couple days.
How many miles have you already racked up on
65.
it? 65 since last Friday.
Yeah, since last Friday. Less than a week. I've been really using a lot. And
you should try to get to 100 by tomorrow. That would be awesome.
I bet you I could pretty easily, actually.
That'd be pretty cool.
But no, and I just want to say the people at Rambo are top notch. I mean, I don't have enough good things to say about them. The way that they treated me and respected me, and I went down there to kind of do the swap.
It's in Centerville, Iowa.
Yeah,
so
Centerville, Iowa.
South of Knoxville.
Yeah.
If you're going out of Des Moines, you go kind of south and a little bit east.
Yeah.
You hit Knoxville, and then you go down from there, you hit Centerville.
Yep. So I drove down there to return the other one, get the other one, and I worked a lot with Rick, Brody, Heather, and I mean, they are just seriously some of the best people that I've ever worked with in the industry. Yeah. And if you guys...
Best people I've worked with in the industry.
Well, I'm serious.
No, I'm just trying you.
No, I'm serious.
No,
even from a standpoint of before I was in the industry, I mean, I was still always calling people and talking to people at bow shops, whatever, and they were just super, super good to work with, and they're very good people. And if you guys are in the market for an e-bike, I would hit Rambo up because they're really good people.
Yeah, one of the things that I felt like I heard resonate from your experience with them, even like, I think we try to do this at Ozonics, right? I've always said that customer service at times is a service to the customer.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you talk about the service to the customer, one of the tricks is, look at me right now. I'm trying to put in a water softener.
Yeah.
I don't know diddly about water softeners. I know that there's these big black tanks, and then there's this white tank, there's all this piping, and there's this other blue thing over here. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I honestly don't know. And I'm trying to Google about the salt or the brine or this or that, or I don't know. I don't even know the silica or media or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But it's cool because I can call a certain company and they'll give me the time of day to try to explain it to me.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we get people that call us Zonks and they don't really understand it.
Yeah.
But we're here to try to help you understand it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a pretty steep learning curve because when you just walk up to an e-bike, like we did in Pennsylvania, like we don't know. We're like, geez, I don't know. Like, like some of them have gears, some of them don't. They have a chain, they have pedals, but some just have like one gear, you know what I mean? And like some have a back derailleur, some don't. Some have motors here, motor in the middle, like big screen, little screen. Like it's crazy. Like a high bar that you can't step through or a bar that you can step through, or it's just like big tires and fenders.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot to it. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so I feel like your experience with Rambo through this whole process, they've been really super cool to talk to and really understanding and just helping you figure out what was going to be the right bike for you.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that with Ozonics. We talk about that every day on the phone with people. When a guy calls, we're not trying to sell him on something. We want to just make sure he gets what's going to work best for him.
Work for him. Yep.
Does that make
exactly
sense?
The same
and
situation.
I feel like that's what Rambo did with you. Is they're just like, hey man, you have very specific niche needs.
Yeah.
And that's more catered to this bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool too, because at the Iowa Deer Classic, we ran into a guy from Missouri.
Yeah.
He had a Rambo bike. His was a step through.
Yep. I believe his was the Rebel.
Yeah. So you were talking to him a lot about kind of the differences between what you were going to be getting in that bike. And man, I would love to get one. Like I said, it's, I always, close my eyes and think about on an electric bike with jet on the cart, or now, especially after Pennsylvania, they make little kid electric bikes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man, those things look pretty cool.
Yeah.
My problem is I'd have to get 4 of them. I'd have to get 4.
Well, when we're going hunting with Jet and Bobo, we'll put them on there.
Well, the funny part will be if we take Jet and Bo, you'll have the e-bike and the trailer, put Jet on the trailer, and you're going to be like, sucker, and you guys are going to all the way out there and just hustle. Yep. But it's even little things, like, we were talking about riding that e-bike out in the morning. Well, that's got this nice screen on it. Man, I'm sorry, I got a frog in my throat. It's got this nice screen on it, but even the thought of like, they've got a way that you can turn the brightness down. You don't have that thing sitting there glowing up at you. Yeah. So you can turn the brightness way down. You can really go stealth in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's been the funnest part for me is like just kind of tinkering with it. Like it's just this little tiny screen, and it's crazy how much stuff is packed into that.
Yeah.
To be able to go and knock the power down to wherever you need it to meet any classification need that you have it's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I kind of feel like with all this gear we're talking about, like we don't have really any connection with any of these people. It's just that, like, I don't know. I gravitate towards really good gear.
Yeah.
I mean, Tatum always gives me a hard time because she's like, you just can't pick out anything cheap. You know what I mean? Like I always end up like at the nicest, most expensive. Yeah. And not that saying like any of these brands are the most expensive or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I gravitate towards good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like I'm going to buy once, cry once type deal.
Yeah.
And, there's lots of stuff out there, and this is the stuff that we picked. Not that anything else is bad.
Yeah.
It's just, So anyway, like I said, if you're in the market for buying a harness, if you're in the market for some clothing, if you're in the market for an e-bike, hit us up. Because like I said, we've got, like we've talked about today, we've got kind of our perspective on what's worked for us. Mm-hmm. And like you said, man, that bike will scoot. Holy guacamole.
Yeah, I did a 14-mile loop yesterday in 40 minutes.
Jeez. I'm going back here, but one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting, what you said that I never would have thought, but makes sense when you just go, oh, okay. You have the rear motor and the front motor. They told you when you're on a flat surface, where you're just kind of just driving along, like concrete or a gravel road or something, put it in front wheel.
Yeah.
Because when you put in front wheel, there's not as much weight pressing down on like if you got the rear wheel on, you've got all your weight on the back of the bike.
Yeah.
And it's just harder for it to get going or harder for it to keep going. Whereas if the front wheel doesn't have near as much weight, and it's almost like it's like pulling a trailer.
Pulling you,
yeah. So it doesn't use as much battery.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean the fact that you can go 1 meaning no assist, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25, 50, 75, 100, and you could, I mean, it would be crazy to see if you put it on 2, so 25% assist, and just went on a ride where it was a real calmish day, or even if you had like a little bit of a wind at your back, how far you could go.
Oh, you could go so far.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm like really
You're good.
Getting hoarse.
You're good. I did that 14 miles, and I kept it at 5 the entire time, pedaled the entire time, and when I got back, I was at 71%.
That's wild.
So
yeah.
And then like all weekend long, like Uncle Zip put up a box blind.
Yeah.
And he put it up on the far north part of the property, and where I live, I can take the bike there. So I was going all the way around. I was riding up, riding it back, going up to my house, going down to Zip's shed. Like I just rode that thing all weekend, and there was not a single time where I was like, oh man, I gotta go easy on battery.
Yeah.
And I was hauling too.
Yeah.
And that was no pedaling. That was just all throttle, just ripping.
I think you were calling it gas before, but now you're calling it throttle.
Yeah, I like giving it some gas.
Yeah, I was calling it gas too. I'm like, man, when you give it gas, like it really goes.
It does too. That thing will do like a 2-wheel burnout. Like,
well, you have to hold on.
Yeah,
and it's like you said, if you were to put it on 5 and like on a piece of private ground and just really gun it, it's too much.
It's too fast.
You'd probably have a helmet on.
Like I was doing that up at Zips, and I had it on 5 with both.
You almost went over tea kettle that one time the way it sounded.
We're not going to talk about that because that was 100% my fault. I was just being dumb. But yeah, like I was ripping, going like 25 miles an hour on these roads. I'm like, this does not feel safe. Like this is like too fast.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, don't do anything stupid. And you're like, this is stupid. This is stupid, bang. And then you fall off.
Yeah. But no, it's unbelievably fun. And I'm super excited to try it for hunting because I think it's going to be a major game changer.
Yeah.
For what we do.
I'd say the other thing that I think that I never thought about that you have to kind of, the hurdle that you need to kind of jump over, decide how you're going to do it is how do you transport it?
Yeah.
You actually found a really cool, it's by Thule.
Yeah.
They make a really cool bike rack, this kind of mobile bike rack.
Yeah, it's called the Instigator.
Okay. So it has these 2 rubber or real hard plastic straps that go down kind of over the edge of your bed of your truck, right where the tailgate comes.
Yep.
There's a space down in there, and it's got these kind of 2 thick deals, kind of look like knuckles. They go down in there. When you shut the tailgate, it kind of holds it in there.
Locks them in.
And then it's got this deal that goes up over the wheel and kind of cinches down. It's got a cable that you can lock it.
Yeah.
And then it just holds the bike upright.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool idea because one of the things that I was always worried about is like, well, man, same thing. You're talking about carry bag.
Yeah.
You know, how do you transport your bow in a case? How do you transport the bike if you're just setting it over on its side?
Yeah,
like
it's so hard on
Yeah,
it.
it's like hard on the, it's hard on the handlebars or the brake. It's getting pressed all the time.
Yeah.
It's like really dusty. Like, how do you do that? Well, the cool thing about yours is you've just got to sit, like, you have it set upright vertically in your truck.
Yeah.
And the wind just kind of blows right over it.
Yeah.
And you come off a gravel road, it looks fine.
No, yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's dusty at all.
And it stays freaking rock solid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got to hit a pretty decent bump to get it
even
to sway.
move.
Yeah. And so I bought that rack or whatever with the last bike I had, and you could fit it perfectly. It like was perfectly straight and in the back. Well, this Megatron is just a little bit bigger, and so I kind of got to kick the back end over to make it fit, but it kind of presses against the back, and like it just does not move at all.
Yeah.
It almost works a little bit better with it being a bigger bike. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really look odd when you kind of have it turned just a skosh.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying because you can kind of close the tailgate and then you can almost kind of grab the bike and you can just kind of wedge it in there
That's
a little
exactly
bit
what I do,
if you
yeah.
want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty killer. And like you said, if all of a sudden one day we were going to take my truck, like we will, turkey hunting,
Yeah.
and we'll just literally, you just grab that mount. It's literally just held on once the tailgate's closed.
Yeah.
You open the tailgate, comes off, you just put it right in my truck, and boom, there you go.
Exactly. And that's kind of the reason why I got that one, because we were talking about maybe building something
Yeah.
that I could like.
We found a lot of like 2x4 style, like the tire goes in and they use like a chain or a gear tie or like PVC piping built ones.
Or guys were even like drilling into their bed and like making it really rock solid. I'm like, God, we would have to only take my truck then if we wanted to take the bike. But this way you can have the same thing, rock solid. You can swap between trucks, whoever wants to use it. So
you're driving a Chevy Silverado with a standard 6-foot box. It's not a long box. It's the same length as mine, isn't it?
Well, it's standard for
Chevy.
For an extended cab, so it is longer than a 4-door.
Okay.
4-door bed, I believe.
Okay.
So.
Okay. But yeah, anyway, it's a 6-foot box.
I think it's 6.5.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Because I wonder what mine is. I think mine's the same length as yours.
I think it is.
So it is a 6.5-foot box. I was just trying to say that so somebody would listen and goes, well, how long of a box is it?
Yeah, because
I don't think you could put it in a short box. You'd have to really kink it.
Yeah, well, and I think the reason why your truck just looks bigger than mine is because yours is a 4-door with the 6.5-foot bed, but mine is an extended cab, which is smaller cab.
Yep.
With the longer box.
Yep. Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be really interesting come August, how many miles you have on that thing.
I know.
It's going to be crazy.
I know. I think I'm going to put a ton on it.
Honestly, dude, I wouldn't, if I said over under on 500, I'd say over.
Oh, I'll be way over 500.
Over under on 1,000, I'd say it'll be between 750 and 1,000.
Well, look at it like this, dude. I have already put on, like, there's a good chance I'll be at 100 miles by the end of this weekend.
Yeah.
And that's like a week.
I know. Well, the thing of it is the other context of this is that you live in Clear Lake, which is like the perfect place on any night of the week.
Yeah, to go for a cruise.
To go for a nice leisurely cruise around the lake. I mean, talk about a great thing. Just a nice 14-mile trek.
Yeah. You can do it quick in a night.
And under an hour, you get to see a whole bunch of country. And you could go on some really cool different ways around the lake. Like I've showed you in a couple different spots where you could really see some country.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll be over 1,000.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
If I already have over 100, or if I'm going to be at over 100 in a week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you said how many miles between, if you say, okay, I got the bike, March, April, May, June, July. In 5 months, if you said how many miles are you going to put on it, and if I said in a week you'd already have 10% for the next 5 months, yeah, that makes you think that you're going to be way over 1,000.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say over 1,000.
I think it'll be over 1,000. I really do. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So I mean, I put on probably 30 just at home, and I was just like cruising back and forth from Zip's house and like.
See, that's, I think, the thing where it would really, man, I've always said that I thought an e-bike would be fun just for the fact that it would be really, really cool with the kids.
Yeah.
Because there's times, and you've seen it, when I take Jet to far spots, we get towards the end and he really starts to slow down. And I get it. Like, you know,
I do too.
I mean, it's a long, some of these places are long walks and I have a tendency to forget that, right? Like I'm always thinking go. I'm like really hardcore when it comes to it. And Jet's not that way yet. Yeah. Or if he ever will be, it's fine either way. Yeah. So I have to like throttle myself back. But I think about that. It's like, man, if I could just put him on there and just be like, hold on, buddy, here we go. And then just zip out there. Yeah. But that was always the first thing that came to mind. But now hearing you talk about it, it's just interesting to think about like how it could just open up possibilities.
I know.
You know, because like, just like this weekend, I've got other things obligations and commitments I've got to try to get done this weekend. But you're like, oh, I'm looking at this spot. And you're like, oh yeah, I could just ride all along here. And I'm thinking, man, I'd love to go check that, but man, that is a walk. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm walking all this. How long is that going to take? Get over here, here. Where you could just scoot on the bike, park it for a bit, go check out, do a loop, come back, move the bike down, check out for a bit, come back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just crazy. Well, it just really, really speeds things up.
Oh yeah. And this is, it's not really hunting related, but like it's as simple as like where I live, my entire family lives within a mile of each other. Yeah. And it's like, seems like almost, there's so many days throughout the summer, like, hey, we're grilling out tonight. Why don't you guys come up? I'll hop in the truck, drive 2 seconds up there. But now if I got the bike, I'll just hop on the bike and roll. Like, it's going to be sweet.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, those types of things will be really handy.
Yeah. Or even when I'm down here in Iowa, hey, Nick, come over for dinner. Yeah. All right, hop on the bike.
Well, just like, I want to go drive around the lake and go over to PM Park on the south side. Yeah. Just get on the bike and go.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just so many things that it could be so handy for.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm really.
And you see a lot more e-bikes. We've talked about that in the last.
Yeah, I've seen a couple when I was doing my lake laps.
Tell me a really funny thing about that big hill.
Oh yeah.
The other night, your first lake lap on that bike.
It was my first lake lap on that bike, and I was really fired up. I'm like, I'm gonna really test this thing out. So
he's on the west side of the lake by what we call the grade in Ventura. Yeah. You go past the grade and you're going south on what they call the Ventura Blacktop. Yeah. You go past the DNR building and then there's this big slow hill there.
Yeah. And so I'm just ripping. I'm going fast. I'm going around all these curves, not pedaling at all, just full gas.
On this bike trail.
Well, I get to this hill and there's 3 ladies biking up it and they're going really slow. And I like cruise up to them and I stop. I'm like, I'll just let them get up there. Well, they're just crawling. I'm like, oh, geez. Like, screw it. I'm just going to pass them. So I wasn't going to just full gas up.
Oh, man.
So I
felt a little guilty.
I felt really guilty. And so I started pedaling and I just cruise right behind them. And all of a sudden one of them hollers, that's cheating. She just hollers at me. I'm like, oh, geez.
You're like, suckers.
Yeah. I just started laughing and then I just said, oh, I got to get out of here.
You stopped pedaling and you just throttled it even harder.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. I think it's funny that you just didn't just cruise up there on full 5, no pedaling.
Oh, gosh.
You felt bad, though.
Yeah, I did. Well, you always kind of feel a little guilty because you're always passing people that are like super hardcore, like training for something. Then there's me just barely pedaling and I'm just ripping.
Well, and it is kind of funny to look at. It's like we talked about before. It's like when you're in an airport and you see those flat escalators, what do they call them? Those walkway deals. And so it's like you see someone in the walkway and they're like barely walking, but they're barely walking like this fast. You're like, whoa, that's weird. And you see people on e-bikes, even out the windows here, they're just going like this. And then they're going like 18 miles an hour, just hauling by. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's an e-bike.
Yeah. It still doesn't make sense in my brain either. Cause like you're barely pedaling and you look down and you're going 25 miles an hour. Yeah. Like it's weird.
I bet.
It's sweet though. It's really cool. It's fun.
Okay. End of the podcast. Let's end her up. I think it's episode 45, 46. We're not sure. Mid 40 something.
Yes. Mid 40s.
Thanks for listening. Another one in the books. We went a lot longer than we thought we were going to.
Oh, we did. Hey, and by the way, we'll see you in Wisconsin.
Yep. 22, 23, 24. The Wisconsin Open Season Sportsman's Expo.